Hello, everyone. I'm Mercedes Zapata. I'm covering for Dr. Worrell. We're going to be talking about self and identity. This is just the introduction for you. This is Social Bases of Behavior for Applied Psychology. This was going to be sort of a warm-up or introduction, but because I wanted to know who was in the room, and it was also going to inoculate you to my screenshotting of Google Images. Think, do, and feel. So maybe you can play this out for yourself as I share mine. I think a lot about disability identity because I have something called retinitis pigmentosa, if you look at the top left. On the right side of that image, you see deteriorating vision, and that's about what I have. So I think about identity and what it means to be disabled quite a bit. What do? I am a school psychologist at Lincoln High School in San Francisco. And the feeling, I feel a little stressed because of this whole technology flexibility thing, and the video's already not worked. But I also feel tremendous relief because I'm done with school and I really remember how tough it was sometimes. So, how you feeling out there? This is a definition of identity that I have adopted and used in practice and research. There are many definitions of identity, as with any construct, and maybe you can think about building your working definition of identity or any other construct that you value and seek to learn more about. Maybe this definition will help orient you today. It has certainly helped me. This is a class on applied psychology, and many of us will be working with children and adolescents. And for those of you who are in 213 later, identity and adolescence fit neatly as topics covered in the same week. So here's Erik Erikson's stage theory of psychosocial development. So we go through life stages to develop our personality. The stage at adolescence, if you see it in the bottom right, is identity versus role confusion. Adolescents explore independence and develop a sense of self. So Canadian psychologist James Marcia then took Erik Erikson's idea, stage theory, and came up with his ego identity statuses. There are two matrices that he explored, that of exploration and commitment. We won't go over the four statuses, but essentially the level of exploring of different thoughts, opinions, values is one part of the matrix, and the other is commitment. To what extent do you commit to a given area of exploration? You will be presenting, four of you anyway, will be presenting on readings from this week. And you may have prepared something comprehensive, and that is incredibly valuable. In my experience, it can be hard to hold on to all of the content. So if you would rather pick and choose certain sections or ideas, please feel free. You can also incorporate any of these discussion questions, or the last one. Insert question means anything else you'd like to talk about. What are your reactions? What do you want to remember? What could you apply to grad school or what you're seeing in schools right now? What do you want to learn more about or follow up on? Should students in this class next year also read this article? Why or why not? These are the four articles. When you share them in a few minutes, you'll choose what order you want to go in. But what I'm going to do is highlight with kind of visual anchors these four articles. So this is Crispin Turner for Coming to the Next Chapter. You see a monkey on the right. Maybe he is, maybe he isn't, passing the mirror test where he develops self-awareness. It happens in human babies at about age 18 months. And it's related to the development of spindles in the anterior cingulate in the frontal lobe. The copy of the paper we have makes it very hard to see where that part of the brain is, so there's an image for you. So we start here, passing the mirror test, and we go all the way to, sometimes chronic self-awareness, which is considered to be a personality trait called self-consciousness, and it can be private, facing inward, or public, facing outward. And these articles also review 6 theories of self-concept maintenance, and I've come across them while studying for the EPPP, for those of you who want to be licensed psychologists. So you will come across this. Okay, this article, I'm gonna tell you the tale of 2 R. Mosses to illustrate social comparison theory and attribution theory, which are discussed in this article. R. Moss on the left made $83 million playing football. R. Moss on the right made $0. Does R. Moss on the right feel upset that the other R. Moss made so much playing football? Answer, no. Second, does the R. Moss on the right feel upset that he is not good at playing wide receiver as the other R. Moss? Answer, also no. On the other hand, would the R. Moss on the left, who is Randy Moss, feel upset if fans believed he was not as good at playing wide receiver as, for example, Jerry Rice, or one of his teammates, like a young buck, let's say, who plays the same position? So in this case, yes. And if another player made $87 million, he might be upset. So relevance and similarity of the comparison target matters. And this article will go into this and many other ideas. And next, this article is about the interaction and integration of 2 theories, social identity theory, which is Toshfeld and Turner, and self-evaluation maintenance theory, which is Tesser. So these theories speak to individual and group identities and how they're made salient or primed in different situations. And this study helps explain why the woman on the left at the Women's March, in their similarity and solidarity, are collectively boosting their self-esteem and self-concept, whereas the 2 women on the right, who are wearing the same pink dress, in their similarity and solidarity, are possibly not experiencing a boost to their self-esteem. This article will go into that. And next, Dr. Worrell zooms in. We're going to focus in on minority identity, which is characterized by the shared experience of stigma, prejudice, and discrimination. He discusses the interrelatedness of constructs like ethnic identity, racial identity, cultural identity, and culture. And there has been the proposal of a super construct, a combined term, ethnic racial identity, that encompasses experiences that reflect both ethnic background and racialized experiences in a specific socio-historical context, meaning you can't separate the 2. So ERI is this super construct he discusses. He'll also discuss the difference between, well, one of you will talk about this, differences between attitudinal and developmental notions of identity, how we feel right now versus going through these stages, moving on to other, other stages of development. This article also reviews theories of minority identity formation, and one of them is related to the items on the MIME, the multi-group ethnic identity measure, which is up on the screen here. I just chose the first 6 items. This is not the be-all, end-all. This is from 1992. There are many other scales. This is not even the latest scale of this one, I believe. So our program director, Dr. Worrell, has done important work on measurement development related to ERI. You may have been exposed to something about the SERIS. Talk to him about it. He is your teacher. And then the last thing I wanted to share is like a piece from my orals list. I actually did identity as one of my areas, and one of them was applied. And this is an applied course. It's about applications in psychology. So these articles, in order, if you are interested in pursuing some of these topics, you can think about identity, and then specifically, in order, the role of schools. Next, the role of social-emotional learning, programming, and intervention. Next, the role of socialization engendering experiences, essentially the stories that children tell that are gendering. Very interesting. Next, the role of teachers. Next is an example of intersectional identities for those adolescents, let's say, who hold dual minority statuses. How do they integrate? How do they hold both? How do they hold this complexity? And then the last one is about the role of technology. So pretty soon, hopefully, we will be meeting to discuss these articles further, and I look forward to that.